Oh, goodness. Just a warning, guys, I'm going to be sniffly. Oh, goodness gracious. Be right back. Oof. Let's see if anybody shows up this morning. My Sunday lives have been a bit of a crapshoot lately. My Saturday staining had a lot of people showing up, which is weird. Usually that's my slow one, but 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. What's up, people? Welcome to Saturday, or not Saturday, Sunday finishing work, not Saturday staining. This is Sunday finishing work. I got the wrong day. Just quarter wrapping a steak real quick. Then I got a prop sword I've got to handle wrap real fast, and then a couple of Donatello stabs. Oh, excuse me. I've got some daggers that I gotta do. And then we'll do some show and tell at the end. But first, I just gotta quarter up wrap this one little steak here. Then we'll get on to some more interesting stuff. This prop sword that I've got to do this morning, good gracious, it has been a weird build, to say the least. I'll tell the story about it whenever I do it. It has been problematic. All right. And if you got any questions about what I'm doing, feel free to drop it in the chat. Just getting this steak quarter wrapped. I marked it off this morning, so I made sure it had at least 6 inches of stabbing tip. Because as we all know, when it comes to wooden steaks, that is rule number 2. Rule number 2 is you always have 6 inches of stabbing tip on your steak, because that is the distance from the outside of the chest to the heart. So if you don't have at least 6 inches and you try to stake a vampire with it, you're just gonna piss him off. Rule number 1, of course, is that you never ever make a steak out of an evergreen wood, because there's a chance it won't work. And there's also a chance that you'll just make the vampire stronger and piss it off. So don't ever use evergreen wood for your steaks. Never use evergreen wood. Always make sure you have at least 6 inches of stabbing tip. A few more turns here, and I think we'll have it. Yeah, one more, and then we're good. Sit on it. No thanks, Kevin. Sit on it. Yeah, no, I would not recommend sitting on these. No. Oh God, that's funny. Sit on it. No, no, I'm good, man. But thanks for the suggestion. Oh, thank you, Kevin. I needed that. No, I'm not sitting on it. But thank you, Kevin. Uh, you were gonna join me? We were gonna sit on. No, man, I'm good. I don't want this going up Main Street. Are you kidding me? I don't want this thing taking a walk up my Strata Chocolata. No, thank you. There we go. Hey, what's up, Nothing Fancy? Welcome. Australia, huh? Summer down there for you guys right now, right? All right. Am I making a bomb? No, Icarus, I am not making a bomb. No explosives this week. Oh, it depends on where you live. You guys are Southern Hemisphere, so I know your seasons get flipped from ours. But yeah, I get that. It's kind of like that in the U.S. Like I live in Florida. What we have for winter here is definitely not what people in other parts of the country have. Our winter is pretty mild. All right. Hey, Indra, welcome. Thank you. Thanks for the sub. Oh, yeah, Northern Territory is different species. Anyone with a comb over Mohawk at your vote. Actually, this is a straight up Mohawk. I just don't have it. I never really have time to style it. I just comb it to the side. Sometimes I have time to style it, but very rarely. So, yeah, we got some. I'm trying to decide. I think I'll do the Donatello stabs next. Hopefully, I have enough paracord. I didn't realize I'm running low on brown paracord. That's a landing strip, yeah. Yeah, it's just come in right here. No, funny story. I ended up with this Mohawk because my son and I, a few years back, my son was probably about, I don't know, he probably was about 10 years old, and he and I had been playing chicken on getting Mohawks together. And finally, there was like one year, I think it was Christmas, I was coming to visit, and he's like, "This is it, Dad. Like, I'm ready. We're gonna get Mohawks this Christmas." And I was like, "Awesome!" So I got us an appointment at a parlor and barbershop, and we went. He wanted Dad to go first. I got the Mohawk, and I was like, "All right, buddy, your turn." And he's like, "Dad, I think I changed my mind." So I ended up with a Mohawk, and my son didn't. So I just ended up keeping it. Oh, you have the same haircut, Kevin? Thanks, Indra. I appreciate that. All right, let's see if I've got enough paracord yet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No, I do not. However, I need to go ahead and cut off the end here. Yeah, honestly, I have this Mohawk kind of for the same reason I have a beard. I'm very lazy about my personal appearance. And this Mohawk is surprisingly easy to maintain. I don't really have to worry about doing anything. So, and I have a beard because I don't like shaving every day. Like once a month, I'll take clippers to it and then just grow it back. And then all I have to do is shave my neck and cheeks. And that's all I have to do. And it's way easier. Oh my God. I don't know how this spool of paracord got so kinked up, but it did. All right, let's see here. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Thundercats, ho! I look like your son? I'm 48, man. I'm not that young. Thanks, Indra. I appreciate that. No, not lighting a doob. Ah. Well, not sure how I have managed to get this tangled up so badly, but I have. I'm fresh for 48. Thank you. I don't feel that way. I have so many freaking injuries now. Like, I feel that like my 40s have mostly just been dealing with injuries I received in my 20s and 30s. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16, 17, 18, 19. Oh, almost there. 20, yes. All right, so I definitely have enough for one staff. I'm not sure that I have enough for two, unfortunately. That's going to be a problem. Well, can I say 6, 7? Oh, God, with the 6, 7 thing. There, I said it. Oh, my good gracious. Am I wearing eyeliner? No. No, I just have very dark eyelashes. But no eyeliner. Just very dark eyelashes for some reason. I don't know what that's about. I've always had long eyelashes. I have worn eyeliner before. I went through a goth phase, you know. I went through a goth phase in high school. And yeah, I've worn the eyeliner. I'll claim it. But not today. You kidding? I can barely function when I wake up in the morning. You imagine me trying to put eyeliner on at 5:15 in the morning? I'd stab myself in the eye. I'm trying to put eyeliner on. Who's putting eyeliner on at 5:15 a.m.? Not me. Do I like ZZ Top? Yeah, man. I'm Gen X, so yeah, ZZ Top was part of my childhood, so yeah. Nothing wrong with ZZ Top. As far as I know, anyway. Hey, what's up, Vic? Welcome back, man. You're Gen ZZ? That's awesome. Oh, wait. I gotta get... forgot. Which one of these is the right one? Not sure which bottle is the right one. I think it's this one. CG5. I'm not sure what CG5 is, my guy. What's CG5? Educate me. Give me 1 second, guys. I gotta concentrate for just a second while I get this first part started. Because if the first part is off, the whole thing is off. This is one of my Donatello bow staves. This one is going to go on auction because it's got a slight warp in it, and I don't sell stuff that's not perfect for full price, so this one will go up on auction for pretty cheap. Once you'll probably mostly end up paying for shipping. But this was the last blank that I had for my standard Donatello bow staff, so I figured I'd go ahead and make it. Since it has only a minor warp, but enough that I wouldn't want to sell it at full price. So it'll go up on auction. Is that a whooping stick? I mean, I think any stick is technically a whooping stick if you try hard enough, right? No, this is a Donatello cosplay bow staff. I started making these about 3 years ago for a group of Ninja Turtle cosplayers. Came to me. They do the 1990 movie, original live action movie style cosplay, and they needed a bow staff that would fit the carrier on the Donatello costume. So I made one for them, and then I made a few more, and they've become a pretty popular item. They get mostly with the cosplayers who have that particular costume, because this standard one fits the carrier for those costumes. That's on the back of the shell. I also have a deluxe version of this that I also make that is a little more functional. It's thicker and longer. You don't want the one that goes with the 1990 costume. You don't want it to be over about 58 inches, because it goes on the back, and depending on the height of the cosplayer, it can drag on the ground if it's too long. So I make them a little shorter. You're a fan of ZZ Top, Indra? How we get on ZZ Top this morning? Who's every girl's crazy about a sharp dress man? But yeah, I make 3 different kinds of the Donatello staves. I have the standard one like this, which goes for the 1990 costume. I have the deluxe one, that's this one over here, and I also have a child-sized one that's 48 inches for the kids, you know. Those don't sell as often as you would think, though. Most people don't want to spend like $50 on a prop for a Halloween costume for a kid, so. And I use cyanoacrylate adhesive in a few spots just to make sure everything stays put. Come on, you in there. There we go. Because even though these are props, I want people to be able to swing them around like on camera if need be, without everything coming apart. So, do they come in XXL? Yeah. I mean, I'll show you the deluxe one here in a sec. We're going to do that one next. That's the XXL. It's 1.5 inches thick. It's about, I think that one's 62 inches in length. So it's a good sized bow staff. This one, like I said, not the XXL for sure, but I do make a bigger version. I think it's. I also make. I only do these by custom order now, but I also make con-safe Michelangelo nunchucks out of foam and plastic. I make. I have a pair on the shop right now that's on auction because it has a flaw in it. But I make con-safe rubber Raphael sai. The last one that I haven't done for that group of Ninja Turtle cosplayers is Leonardo's katana. I'm working on those right now. Because trying to make a pair of con-safe swords out of plastic by hand that look like Leonardo's katana, I usually use either the movie or the cartoon, the original cartoon, as my template or my example for these. When it's the con-safe stuff, I try to use the cartoon. With Donatello, it can be wood because it's strapped to your back on the Donatello costume and you can't really reach it. And it is not really an easy thing to draw out. So most of the cons let you have a wood staff for that costume. But for sai and nunchucks, it's got to be 100% con-safe. So I make all my con-safe sai and nunchucks out of only plastic and foam and safe materials so that you can get in and out of the con with no problem. Now I'm just trying to figure out how to make a sword that works that way. Kundalini for life, huh? I do ship to the UK. This is not a prop. I mean, it's wood. It is a prop, but no, you're welcome, Indra. Kundalini yoga. I actually have some Sikh friends that did Kundalini. All right, last part here. I went to military school in New Mexico when I was 16, 17, and a lot of my friends at that school were Sikhs. Some of them did Kundalini yoga. I practiced Gatka with them. Also done some Kalari Payat. And a very, very tiny introduction to Shastar Vidya. But if I'm pronouncing that correctly, it's been a while. India's got some cool martial arts, I tell you. Unfortunately, there's a lot of the old school original Indian martial arts are not being practiced much by the younger people. I think there's only like one more person who knows Shastar Vidya that's even still alive. Oh, thanks, Marcel. I appreciate that. Appreciate you. All right, let's see if I can do this without messing it up. Pull it tight. There we go. There we go. Got the knot. Now I just cut off the ends and melt them to the staff so that they stay in place. There we go. There's my lighter. There it is. And there we go. Your stepdad makes shit like this? Cool. There we go. That's our standard Donatello staff. That's done. The regular ones are already up on the shop, but that one will go up on auction later today. Oh. I am not tough. No, I'm not. Not tough at all. These days, I'm not sure if I could fight my way out of a wet paper bag. I think there was a time in my life when I was tough, but these days I'm kind of a wuss. I got too many injuries to be tough. These days, I have to talk my way out of stuff. Luckily, I'm a much better talker than I am a fighter. I am not a super pro. You bet I can grill the hell out of a steak while listening to some metal? You've got me pegged, my friend. Yes, I can. I love to cook steak and I love to listen to metal. So yes, I can. I absolutely can do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The stupid paracord got all kinked up this morning. Hang on. It's all right. I don't kink shame except when it comes to paracord. I'm cool with kinks everywhere else, but just not in my paracord, please. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, give me a break. There we go. All right, let's see if we can get it now. Oh, I'm not that cool. I'm just a nerd who grew up and learned to do the stuff that he loved. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Oh, that's gonna be close. But I think we can do it, guys. If I just undo this knot on the end here. Let's see. Oof. Let's count them out. I need at least 16 lengths, arm lengths for it to work. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. That's going to be very close. Well, I'm not sure, you guys. I'm not sure if I want to risk it. I've got one more thing of brown paracord. Let me take a look and see if this is any longer. I don't think it is. There is a little trick I can do, though. I don't like to do it very often, but I can meld the 550 cord together. It just leaves one little spot. Yeah, that's not going to be long enough. Okay, so here's what we're going to do, folks. We're gonna cut these ends and we're gonna melt them together. Just in case. We're only one length off, so it should stay near the bottom. It shouldn't be super noticeable. You guys with the 6/7s. That's hilarious. All right, here we go. Everybody pray. Or, I don't know, think positive thoughts, either one. All right, there we go. Well, it's just one little spot, but it will hold. So that should give us enough paracord to finish this bad boy. All right, where's the other end? Shit. I lost it. Oh, there it is. All right, let's count it out now, folks. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Perfect. 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. All right, we are good. Hey, I know I constantly take my glasses on and off. I have bifocals, and they don't work great right now. I need to get new glasses. So when I have to look at things up close. Am I still hunting Banff's Joss? Absolutely. Actually, I've got a couple of wood daggers I'll be handle wrapping later. I did a stake at the beginning. There's a cutoff from the staff that I made this weekend. So often with the cutoffs for these Luxon telestabs, I'll just make a basic stake because it's the easiest thing to make out of it. I used to make poplar Yawara out of them, but they don't seem super popular. Poplar is kind of a weird wood. It's technically a hardwood, but not that great. It's good, it will do the job for sure, but some people aren't fans of it for Yawara. They feel like it's too light. So it's funny though, I think I had like 6 of these in stock when Halloween started. I sold out of them completely, which is funny to me because that's like the simplest steak that I have. But it's also one of the cheapest steaks I have, which I think is also why it sold as quickly as it did. I find that there are 2 types of Vampire Hunter cosplayers. The kind that want a super cool steak that's expensive, and the kind that want just any steak that's cheap. All right. I'm going to do this one. After I finish this one, I got to go wipe down the stuff that's tongue oiled from this morning. Then we'll start doing handle wraps on that stuff. Oh wait, no, I gotta wipe them down, and then I got that prop sword I gotta do the handle on. This prop sword, you guys, has been a pain in my ass for the last week for so many reasons. That whole build was just like cursed. I don't know what the deal was with that. This high school, I think they're in Connecticut, the theater teacher contacted me. They said they were doing a Shakespeare play and they needed a medieval prop sword. So I'm like, okay, no worries. I can do a medieval prop sword. I decided I would just make them a broadsword prop out of okome, which is a very light wood that works really well for stage props. And I got about halfway through the build, and they told me, the teacher got a hold of me and was like, so yeah, we're doing Romeo and Juliet, which there are no broadswords in Romeo and Juliet. They were carrying repeat rapiers, which is a completely different weapon from a medieval sword. And I mentioned that to the theater teacher, and she's like, well, what do you think we should do? And I was like, you should probably just buy a couple of like fencing epee, and those are close enough to rapiers, and just call it good. And she was like, oh, okay, thanks. Well, I guess we won't need this anymore. So I talked myself right out of a custom order by giving good advice. That was a mistake, but it's all right. That probably turned out to be a good thing, because for this prop sword, I use a lot of times for prop swords and prop weapons that are going to be used on stage, I use chrome paint because it's far more reflective and it looks better on stage. However, the thing about chrome paint is once you paint it, you cannot touch it for at least 24 to 36 hours, because while it is curing, if you touch it, the oils in your hands will, honestly, nothing should touch it. So last Friday, I painted it, and it was leaning up against the wall in the shop, and over sometime during the weekend, I wasn't here last weekend, and sometime during the weekend, or it was weekend before last, somebody picked it up and put it on a towel. Apparently it was some workers in the building, and completely messed the paint up. Do I grow my own trees? No, sir. I get my wood in different places. Depends on the kind of wood. I work in home renovations, so some of my wood's reclaimed wood from jobs that I'm on during the week. Some of my wood comes from vendors. You know, some of it from the hardware store. It depends on what it is, like oak, poplar, stuff like that. I just get at the hardware store. But like my exotic woods, like I get Purple Heart zebra wood, Padauk, okome, canary wood, coconut, coffee nut, gray elm, that kind of stuff. I get most of that from Barrington Hardwoods. They're a very good wood vendor. Highly recommend them. They have never steered me wrong. If I need a wood for a certain purpose, and they have great customer service. Like they have a number you can call, and I've called them. You know, when I have a custom order, I'm not quite sure what kind of wood's going to be appropriate for it, I'll call them. They'll give me some great suggestions. A lot of times when you call a wood vendor to ask for stuff like that, they just try to sell you their most expensive wood. Barrington doesn't do that. They're very good at helping you figure out what's going to be best for the job. Do I know Ronaldo? I don't know. Do I know Ronaldo? I don't think so. You mean like Ronaldo? I don't know what Ronaldo we're talking about. Yeah, the reclaimed wood. Okay, so I work in an area of Florida. We have clients in Boca Grande, Venice, a lot of very affluent areas, and these people, we're talking like, sometimes 10, $20 million homes we're working in. And these people do not go cheap on their wood. Like I worked on a pair of 8-foot high mahogany doors a couple weeks ago. I've got a bunch of Ipe from a job that we did recently where they had a generator that was enclosed in a fence made out of Ipe wood. Ipe wood is extremely dense, extremely durable, and very expensive. So they wanted the old fence taken out and a new one put in. So I got to keep all of the Ipe from the old fence, which Ipe's, all I have to do is sand off the outside and it's going to look awesome again. And we made them a new Ipe fence and repainted it and all that stuff. So yeah, they do not skimp on their woods in these affluent areas of Florida, man. I once saw a house with ebony moldings. I didn't even know you could get ebony anymore. Well, it's not hot glue. It's gel cyanoacrylate adhesive. I use the gel kind for that exact reason. If you're gonna use a super glue, which is really all cyanoacrylate is, I highly recommend using the gel kind because it doesn't run. It tends to stay where you put it. It's also got a little better adhesion for wood. So I tend to use the gel cyanoacrylate or gel super glue. I use the Gorilla brand only because it's easy for me to get. One of these days I will be smart and buy like a huge bottle of the gel cyanoacrylate that they sell for like boats and stuff, because I can get a much bigger bottle for less money. But I probably do that once I run out. I bought like a 6-pack of these bottles last year because I needed them in a pinch. So once I run out of these, I'll buy a bigger bottle from somewhere. But the answer to your question, how do I not get it on my fingers, is very carefully. Oh, no, I don't know Ronaldo, the soccer player. No. You do realize there are other people out there named Ronaldo, though, right? My door casings? I don't know what you mean. You mean for the door behind me? Or for the doors I was working on a couple weeks ago. Oh man, those mahogany doors, by the way. So the people who stain the doors, it wasn't our company, but the people who stained the doors the last time never sealed them. So they just painted the doors and walked away. And the doors face, like the sun is on the front side of the house for like through 2/3 of the day. And so those doors had just completely, they were cracking and had all the finish had come off of them. So I had to hand strip them because there was a bunch of like little detailed architecture in the doors. It took me a week and a half to strip those doors. It took me 2 days to paint them. Week and a half to get them stripped down to bare wood. Yeah, actually, poopy pants. That's a great question. So I do have a reason for doing this this is just a tension tuck. It's a pretty simple tension tuck. I have an anchor line that goes down. I wrap around it and I tie it off at the end. The reason I don't do more complicated wraps for a number of reasons. One is that those kinds of wraps often use more paracord. And so, I don't want to have to charge more because paracord's not free. So this uses less paracord. The other reason is this is very simple to learn. If I send this to a client and something goes wrong, because things happen, and let's say, something happens, they make a mistake with it or something, and this comes off, this is very easy to replicate. This is something that anybody can figure out how to do. So that way, if it comes loose or something goes wrong, they can easily fix it. Or let's say sometimes I sell stuff to people and they like it, but they don't necessarily like the color of the wrap, or they don't like the material of the wrap. They can take it off fairly easily and put a new one on. Hey, what's up, Ben? Indra, who's my favorite celebrity? I don't know that I have one. I'm not really a celebrity guy. Like, I'm a big fan of Chow Yun Fat. I don't know if that counts. I like the old school Chow Yun Fat movies when he was doing stuff with John Woo back in the Hong Kong days. I was watching this movie Hard Boiled. It's on Tubi right now. The other day, I haven't seen it in forever. I swear to you guys, it is hands down one of the greatest action films ever made, and it never gets any love. It is amazing. You got Chow Yun Fat just lighting dudes up through the whole movie. It is awesome. John Woo back in the day with Chow Yun Fat, he would give a couple guns to that guy, and he would. It looked like he looked like he was doing ballet with 45 caliber handguns. It was awesome. Oh, I don't know, but yeah, I'm not really honestly, I don't have much time for television or movies. I like I'm a big, I like Pedro Pascal's stuff. I like Taika Waititi's stuff. But I don't know that I have a favorite celebrity, so to speak. Oh, look at that, you guys. Oh, that turned out perfect. That part that I had to meld is right at the end. That's going to be easy to cover up. Woot woot. Ah, that worked out wonderfully. Yeah. Yeah, it's exact. That is a great description of hard boiled, man. Yeah. Oh, thanks. Yeah, just easy on, easy off. It's easy to replace, easy to figure out. But yeah, hard boiled, that movie, yeah, it's pigeons, slow motion, and cigarettes. Yep. Oh, thanks, Andrew. Yeah, I mean, I honestly, I am a naturally lazy person, believe it or not. However, I also don't want to have jobs that I hate. And then when you want to have jobs you don't hate, you kind of have to work harder. That's the downside. Upside, downside. Upside is I wake up every morning and I love what I do. Downside is I have to work 3 jobs to pay my bills. I work in home renovations during the week. I run this shop on weekends, and I also am an author for Penguin Random House. I'm a mythology writer. So I work on books on mythology for Penguin Random House. But if I had a choice, Old Boy, oh yeah, Josh, I love Old Boy. Are you kidding me? That is a classic. Are we talking about the Japanese Old Boy or the Western Old Boy movie? Because there's 2. But I love the Japanese Old Boy. That's one of my favorites. Yeah, but yeah, that fight scene in Old Boy it's definitely, in my opinion, a top 10. I love in movies, they always try to make fight scenes be complicated and beautiful, which I appreciate. I do. But at the same time, man, there's just something about like just a down and dirty, like rough fight scene where it's just a dude trying to survive and he's just doing everything that hurts. And that's what that Old Boy fight scenes, that's what it was. Just absolutely brutal. Another great example of that, there's a movie with Roddy Piper, the wrestler, called They Live, that has probably one of the greatest fight scenes ever. It's kind of legendary. And it's him and Keith David just beating the living shit out of each other in a freaking alleyway. And it's just like, elbows and knees and freaking headbutts and nut shots. It's just freaking horribly brutal fight scene. Well, that couldn't have worked out better, you guys. There we go. So we got our deluxe Donatello staff finished. So this one is already up on the shop. This will just be added to the inventory. And that regular Donatello staff will go up on auction later today. Before I move on to the next thing, I've got some stuff over here I've got to buff out real quick. Give me one moment. Oh, it's such a long fight scene. Oh, the Korean Old Boy. Yeah. Sorry, I don't know. I think I said Japanese. I meant Korean. Or maybe, is there a Korean one? I thought it was Japanese. Oh, Ong Bak? Yeah, Ong Bak, awesome. And Ong Bak's another one of those movies where the fight scenes are just absolutely gorgeous, but also they kind of do like a hybrid, because in Ong Bak, the fight scenes are beautiful to watch, but at the same time, they're just absolutely brutal. Yeah, I'm lazy, Indra. Same. All I wanted, if I have a choice between doing something and doing nothing, I will always choose the nothing. Is it Korean, Josh? Okay, good to know. For some reason, my brain was saying Japanese. But the original Old Boy is definitely my preference. Oh yeah, that long what do they call it? That long cut from Ong Bak when he's going up the ramp. Yeah, I love it when they do like a single shot, like a single long shot in a fight scene, because it's the hardest thing to do. That's how you know, if you watch a fight scene and they don't have any cuts, the camera doesn't cut to a new angle, that's how you know the fight choreographers were on point, because that is not easy to do, you guys. Sitting on the couch all the time. I wish I could sit on the couch all the time. I cannot. I can't. I got too much shit to do. I'm up at 5:15 every morning, including weekends. I get up at 5:15. I come here every morning to the shop. I pack up orders to ship that afternoon. My day job is right next door. I go next door. I work out in Boca Grande. We drive out there. I do my work for the day. I come back, go to the post office, ship my orders, and go home. And then on weekends, I'm back in here doing this stuff. Sundays, I go home. After this, I put everything up for sale on the shop, and maybe if I have time, I get to watch a bad movie and play some Helldivers on Sunday, but that's very rare. Oh, I know, and that's the thing, especially with fight scenes, because it's so physically demanding. That's why it's so impressive when you see like one of those long shot fight scenes, because here's the thing, when you do a fight scene, it's physically exhausting. Even though it's choreographed, still physically exhausting. And your actors and your stunt guys, they can't keep just doing that over and over. So there's a mistake. If they got to go back to one, you know, sometimes if you get to a point where everyone's too tired, you're going to have to call it a day, and that's going to cost money. So yeah, long shot fight scenes, that's how you know the choreographers were just absolute rock stars, because you very rarely see those. It's easier to do like a 6 to 10 movement sequence, shoot that, then cut to a new camera, shoot the next one, and that way you can edit it all together and it looks nice and it doesn't look like it was shot separately. But when you have like 5 minutes of a fight scene, it's all one shot. Holy shit, that is amazing. Like the amount of talent, and it never. And what bothers me is the Oscars, for example, the Academy Awards. They don't really have any awards that great for like stunt choreography and fight choreography, which they should, because the amount of work that goes into fight choreography and stunt choreography is insane sometimes. And I like people who do those long shot fight scenes, they deserve a freaking award for that. I'm in the US, Indra. I'm in the United States. I am on the Gulf Coast of Florida. It is currently 8:15 in the morning here, a little after that. All right, let me go buff out these wasters and stuff over here. Oh, that's the one that's got a hole. Let's go that way. There we go. So I sold out of, these are my Armored Combat Boo-Hurt wasters. These are just the basic medieval broadsword wasters. I sell these to Boo-Hurt, HEMA, SCA, Armored Combat, and other people. All of my wasters and bowkin are guaranteed in my shop. If you buy one from me and it breaks, I replace it at no cost to you. You just have to send me a photo and tell me how it broke so that I can figure out if it's an issue with the design or if it was an issue with maybe the grain configuration. Because I've had a guarantee on all of my work for 3 years, and I've only ever had to replace one. And the one I had to replace, it wasn't exactly my fault. He was fairly new to that kind of sword work, and he was hitting a steel practice dummy that was embedded in the ground in concrete. There is not a waster or bouquin on this world that's going to survive hitting an unpadded steel practice dummy that is embedded in the ground. Even a regular sword will break if you're smacking it against a steel dummy. So I explained to him how to properly pad his practice dummy with tires so that he didn't break his wasters. But I still replaced it for him because it was kind of, you know, he was young. I turned it into a learning opportunity, but all my stuff's guaranteed. That one I just did is white ash. This one's red oak. I have 2 separate ones. The white ash ones, I think I have 2 of those in stock right now, and those are the last 2 white ash wasters I'll be able to make because I'm running out of white ash and I'm not going to be able to buy more. White ash is very rare here in the US because there was a invasive insect, the emerald ash borer, that really messed up our ash forests here in the US, and so you can only harvest it here in the US if it comes from a tree that fell under natural conditions like a storm, which is how I got mine. You can import it if you want to, but it is very expensive to import. And I try to keep my costs down, so. But I bought what I could from that group. My favorite weapon to make. Well, are we talking actual weapon or are we talking practice weapon? Because my favorite, I make custom battle bats in my shop, which are basically combat ready baseball bats with different adornments such as saw blades, barbed wire, nails, stuff like that. Basically zombie apocalypse bats. I really enjoy making those. Matter of fact, after I'm done, if you guys want, I'll go grab one and show it to you. Once I get done with everything, we'll do a show and tell. I usually do a show and tell at the end of my live streams to show kind of what I've been working on and stuff that I have in the shop. So I'll show you guys one. Hey, what's up, Sir Winston? How's it going? Oh, you're in the Philippines, Indra? But yeah, Chris, I really like making battle bats. I enjoy making bouquin as well. And wasters. Just because I have this kind of sick fascination with making stuff that won't break. I'm doing good, Sir Winston. Doing very good. Just tired, but that's pretty normal for me. All right, let's see. This one I got to be a little careful on because the edges, this is coffee nut and I hadn't worked with it before. And I'm not sure if I'm going to work with it again. It's a little, it's sturdy, but the grain in it tends to separate and I'm not a huge fan of that. Because I have a blade part on here that's got a hang off from the grain and I've tried sanding it out and it just doesn't seem to want to do it, so I haven't decided. I may just end up boxing this one off because it's not perfect. Like I said, I hate selling stuff that's not perfect for full price. And I got this this functional hickory dagger. This is fashioned after a type of a old school Apache fighting knife that they made out of wood. Oh, I never worked under a mentor, Chris. No, I'm pretty self-taught. To be honest with you, you could say I'm working under a mentor now. The guy I work with for home renovations, we mostly do more of artistic stuff. He's kind of the artist. I do the prep work for him, but I'm actually learning quite a bit from him. Which has been awesome because I'm completely self-taught. Started doing this in college. I did it for a few years in college, and then after I graduated from college, like a week before I graduated college, my shop caught fire and burned to the ground. So I stopped doing it. I went off to grad school and didn't do it for a long time. And then about 3 or 4 years ago, decided to start up again. And because I really needed an outlet of something that wasn't just me sitting down. Because at the time I was a marketing copywriter and I was sitting at a desk 8 hours a day and I hated it. So yeah, I'm mostly self-taught. I mean, it could be. These particular ones are fashioned after indigenous style weaponry, but yeah, I mean, it's technically still a wooden stake just because it looks like a dagger. But I have another style of these that has a more extreme taper. It comes more like to a triangle point. That I sell those as vampire stakes because that's mostly what they're good for. They look cool, but the first time you're probably only going to use them once because that extreme taper, the tip will be somewhat fragile. So if you stab something with one of those, the hickory ones hold up pretty well, but the oak ones, you'll probably stab once or twice and then they'll break. Take a rest? Yeah, thanks, Indra. That's not really an option for me right now. Oh yeah, Chris, I have lived for a long time with the philosophy to do what makes me happy, and honestly, being a marketing copywriter for a long time, it made me happy. But I find that the older I got, the less I liked it. And then about 3 months ago, at my previous job as a marketing copywriter, I was required as part of my condition of employment to use an AI system that my company was partnering with Microsoft on. I worked on with that AI system as their marketing copywriter for about 2 years. And then about 3 months ago, they laid me off and replaced me with the AI that I trained. So that's fun. I can't take a rest, Indra. I appreciate it, but I can't. I don't have time to take a rest. I'll take a rest on December 18th. December 18th, I take off for Christmas. So I will take a rest when that comes around. Hang on one second, everybody. Let me... So this is the prop sword I was talking about that I was making for the high school play. It's Okome wood that's painted. You can tell that chrome paint really pops, with light reflection. But like I said, I left this sitting in the shop and some workers came in and moved it and they set it on a towel. And you can see where the towel left indents in the paint. And at this point, it's already set, so there's no... Like, I could paint over it, but it's going to be too much. It was literally the last coat of paint before I sealed it. If I had been smart, I probably would have waited at the shop for another, hour for it to finish drying, and I would have put polyurethane on it to seal it. But I did not. So, I'm going to sell it probably either on auction or at a discounted price on the shop. I just got to wrap up the handle. We're going to keep it simple. We're just going to do some hockey tape. You have a bear in the left cave. Hey, Victor, welcome. Jordan, is that code for something? I have no idea what we're talking about. I have a bear in the left cave. All right, there we go. At the top there. All right, so pro tip, anytime you're doing handles, especially with tape, make sure that you go from the bottom of the handle to the top. Otherwise, your overlap will be facing up instead of down. And if you do that, then when the weight of the sword pulls away from your hand, you're going to make the tape fold. You don't want to do that. So always try to start from the bottom of your handle and work your way down. There we go. Oh yeah, I've done distressed weaponry. Matter of fact, this chrome paint, one of the reasons I use it is when I'm making stuff that needs distressed. It's super easy because this chrome paint mars up so well whenever it's like before it completely cures. So I'll paint something and I'll let it sit for about an hour where it's dry to the touch, and then I'll run a few things over it just to touch the paint, and then I just let it sit, and those places where I touched it will darken up and it looks like it's been dinged. So I really enjoy that. But for this particular sword, it needed to look like a unmarred blade so that it would show up on stage. So I was kind of upset. But yeah, working with chrome paint is difficult because you have to really approach it in stages. You have to be very careful about touching it, letting it come into contact with anything, which is also really hard when you're doing something flat like this because you have to paint one side at a time, which means I paint one side, I've got to wait like 3 or 4 days before I can flip it over and paint the other side because it has to be completely cured. All right, come on, you. There we go. Gotta make sure it's even. Come up. There we are. And but I figure somebody would probably want this. I'll just sell it at a discounted price. I don't know if I'll auction it or not. And it's still a nice prop sword. It's just, you know, it's just got some Mars in the paint, and I don't need it for that custom order anymore, so there's not really a reason for me to keep working on it. Oh, thanks, Indra. So when I was a kid, I loved movies and costumes. Like when I was a kid, I made a lot of weaponry. That got me into a lot of trouble. So when I got older, to be honest, I didn't originally start making props. When I first started my shop, for the most part, I made practice weapons. I made bow cannon wasters. And then I had some custom orders come in for people who wanted stuff similar to some of the things I was doing, but they wanted it for costume purposes. So it started with the Donatello stabs, actually, was one of the first. And then another guy in that group came to me and he was doing Raphael and he wanted Raphael Sai. And so I started with the Ninja Turtle stuff and it kind of went from there. My favorite movie. Oh, that's like asking me to pick a favorite child, Indra. I mean, my favorite movie. That is a tough one. Okay, you know what? This is gonna make me sound like a heathen, but The Monster Squad, to be honest with you. If there's a movie that I could watch over and over for my entire life, if that was the only movie, like if I had to choose one movie that I could watch over and over forever, it would be The Monster Squad. I love that movie so much. I know that's probably a terrible answer, but yeah, The Monster Squad. I love that movie. If you've never seen The Monster Squad, I highly recommend it. It's awesome. Yeah, I know. Everybody thinks I'm going to say like The Godfather or Sinners or something. Some movie that actually like won some awards. But no, I love The Monster Squad, man. I also, just so you guys know, my hobby is watching bad movies. That is one of my main hobbies. So I love terrible films. And I love like little gem movies that are awesome but aren't necessarily well received. And The Monster Squad is one of my favorites. The Monster Squad was really the movie. I was about 10 years old when The Monster Squad came out. And that's the movie that really turned me on to like horror films. And you know, it's one of the reasons also that like I'm obsessed with vampire steaks. I have so many vampire steaks in my shop. My shop probably has the biggest selection of vampire steaks you're going to find anywhere. Minecraft movie. Oh, Enter the Dragon is awesome. I love Enter the Dragon. Your favorite's Minecraft movie? All right. There we go. All right. Let's see. I need some black paracord. Do I have black? I thought I did. Well, maybe not. Hang on, guys. Just a minute. Trying to find some black paracord, and it looks like I only have this one. So I guess it's time we're breaking this one out. I gotta break this open. I'm out of black paracord, so I gotta open a new spool. Oh, thanks, Sparkle. That's nice of you to say. I don't consider myself particularly good looking, but thank you. Yeah, Monster Squad. I don't know that I would call it a horror movie. It was part of the kid venture genre of the 80s. Like in the 80s, there were so many like kid venture flicks, like The Goonies and Ruskies and the Monster Squad, The Neverending Story, stuff like that. And I loved that genre of films as a kid. It was like my favorite. I think it was everybody's favorite, honestly, in my generation growing up. Kid venture flicks were awesome. And the Monster Squad was like the horror movie kid venture flick. And that was back in the day when like kids movies did not, like, they had a PG rating, but the PG rating allowed for a lot more back then. And this was pre-PG-13 days. I think these days the Monster Squad would probably be a PG-13 movie. But it was a PG movie back then. It was life-changing when I was 10 years old. Because, like, when you're 10, especially back in the day, most horror movies were rated R. So when you were 10 years old in the 80s, you didn't get to go see horror movies. And so it was kind of this mystery of what going to see a horror movie in a theater was like. And so the Monster Squad was like my first time as a kid. We went to go see it. My older brother Justin, myself, and our friend Milton, we all went to go see it in the theaters. And like our mom dropped us off. It was awesome. All right, so this needs to be, so that's 1 foot. So this needs to be 2 feet. There we go. Yeah. But also, because it was an 80s film, there were also, there's some issues with it, I think, for kids watching it today. Oh, I know, right? Yeah. Rewatching, because like for example, there's this kid in the movie named Horace, right? But I shit you not, all the other kids just call him Fat Kid through the whole movie. They just call him Fat Kid. His name is Horace, but everyone just calls this kid Fat Kid. And I also, by the way, was a fat kid. So, like, Horace was like my hero. Because, honestly, even though everyone called him Fat Kid, of all the members of the Monster Squad, Horace had one of the highest body counts. Like, that guy, he did so much damage. He took out he used pizza to fight Dracula because of the garlic. He was the one who took out the creature from the Black Lagoon. Like, he did more damage. Him and Rudy did all the killing. The other kids just kind of stood by and watched. Oh, Leprechauns, yeah. They made so many Leprechaun movies. I'm way back from picking up smokes for my parents. Yeah. Yeah, that was also a thing in the 80s that happened. Picking up smokes for your parents. Luckily, my mom didn't smoke, so I didn't have to do that. I never had that, but I had friends that did. There were plenty of times that I went on trips to the corner store with my friends with money from their parents to pick up cigarettes. Yeah, we were raised by the boomers, man. They didn't really give a fuck about us. They just, we'll just send them to the store to get cigarettes. And, what was so funny is you'd go to the store to pick up cigarettes for the parents, and nobody would question it. They would just sell cigarettes to underage children. That was a weird time. The 80s were a weird time. All right, let's see. Yeah, it's just be home by dark, exactly. And I remember my older brother was terrible about that. Like my older brother, the moment the street lights would come on, my mom would be outside looking for my brother. And there were so many times my mom would be out on the porch just yelling my brother's name. like somehow my brother would hear it and come home. This is a Zebrawood Tenarashi Tessin. These are already up on the shop, by the way. This is just, I think I only have 1 or 2 left, so made another one to put up on the inventory. So that one's got its little wrist loop thing. It's a Japanese samurai war fan club. It's used in Tessin Jutsu, Koppojutsu. Kobudo also uses it, and I think there are some schools of traditional Japanese jiu-jitsu that still use them. Oh yeah. Fighting was also a thing. That was a lot more common in that time period. Oh, I know. Yeah, that was the thing. Yeah, they who's your mom or dad, and you tell them, and yeah, that was. They usually knew who the parents were in the area. You know, but I also think that's why so many people in Gen X ended up smoking, because like we figured out by the time we got to our teens that like we could just go to the store and ask for cigarettes for our parents and they'd sell them to us. By the time I was 15, that had kind of stopped. But when I was 13, 14, when I first started smoking, yeah, I could just go to the store and be like, I need this for my parents. And you tell them your parents' name if they asked, which a lot of times they didn't. And they would sell you cigarettes. It was a weird time, man. Underage smoking was a big issue. But also, I think the other reason for it is that we grew up with movies where they showed underage kids smoking. And I am not kidding. In the Monster Squad, there's a guy named Rudy who's a junior high aged kid who's walking around with a cigarette hanging out of his mouth for most of the film. There's another movie called The Zoo Gang. It's a little less well known. That was a Kid Venture film from the earlier 80s. It has the guy from Iron Eagle in it, whose name I can never remember. It's called The Zoo Gang. And there is like an 8-year-old kid in this movie that is chain smoking throughout the whole film. It's supposed to be like a joke. But these days, you can never show kids. I know, Stand By Me. But see, Stand By Me was more of a drama, so it almost made sense. But like, they made movies that were meant for kids that showed kids smoking when I was a kid. Like they showed kids close to your age smoking. It was crazy. These days, you could never get away with that. They would lose their shit. And rightfully so, because, you know, they shouldn't be showing underage kids smoking in a movie meant for underage kids. Oh, and another one, Dick Tracy. There was a Dick Tracy movie with Warren Beatty, right? Definitely meant for kids. It looked like a comic strip. They made this, and it had Madonna and Warren Beatty in it. And they had this kid who in the movie named The Kid, who smokes cigars and cigarettes throughout the whole film. Oh yeah, we definitely had to take responsibility. Frank, our parents didn't. Yeah, I mean, we learned a lot. I don't know that it was the best parenting style, though. I know everybody gives the millennials and the Gen Zers and the Gen Alphas a hard time about the world they grow up in. But to be honest, I also feel that a lot of us ended up on milk cartons. You know what I'm saying? How much, kids, how much will you charge me for yours? No. Debbie Does Dallas. Not really a kid movie there, Kevin. Yeah, we made it. We were the ones who survived. Pour one out for the ones that didn't, right? But yeah, the Gen X generation, we grew up. I was at the tail end. I'm like right at the tail end of Gen X, right at the beginning of like Elder Millennial. I tend to pick Gen X because I feel that I associate more with that generation than an Elder Millennial, even though I'm very close. I was born in 1977, so it's weird. Like, I was born in the 70s. I was a child in the 80s. I was a teenager in the 90s and came into adulthood in the early 2000s. So it's, I grew up in a lot of different decades. Scramble porn. Yeah, I know. I heard everybody would try to watch the scrambled porn channel. You can still hear the sound. Oh yeah. Oh my god, dude! My older brother was in the emergency room so often when we were kids that no matter where we moved around a lot, but I swear, no matter where we lived, the people in the emergency room knew my brother by his first name because he was the kid who like would build ramps to like ramp his bike off of. He was nuts. He ended up actually passing away in a motorcycle accident in 1998 at the age of 23. Uh, he went out exactly the way he would have wanted though. Like our whole childhood, he was just that guy, man. If it had wheels, he wanted to go as fast as he could, and he wanted to see if he could jump it. 82. Yeah. Yeah, the late 70s were an interesting time to be born. I think my little brother was born in 1980. My older brother was born in 75. Yeah, I think Gen X is going to be the last, to be honest with you, of that generation. But I also predict, like I've noticed a pattern with generations that they tend to go like to extremes based on what their parents do. I think that Gen Alpha's kids are going to be very different than what we've seen with the millennials and Gen Z and Gen Alpha. I think the Gen Alpha's kids are going to be a lot less interested in social media and a lot more interested in like real things. And you're already starting to see that shift. Like the Gen Alpha generation, my son's generation, they like one of the big things for them is they love like physical media. Like they like they're out there buying Polaroid cameras again. Like the old school like shake it like a Polaroid picture cameras, which I love to see. You know that they see the novelty and the value in having a physical picture because their whole lives all they've seen really is digital. I'm also a 77 model. That's all right. But I think they will. I think we're going to see a shift back away from technology and away from online stuff with Gen Alpha's kids. I think we'll see that. I may not live to see that, but that's what I think. By then, I'll either be a great grandpa or I'll be dead. Which I'm cool with either, to be honest with you. Feel like by that time I'll be ready. Ready to either be a great grandpa or ready to go wherever it is I'm gonna go at the end. Yeah, that's good. All right. All right, there's our Hickory Apache fighting knife. Good. Born in 2000. My stepson was born in 2000. He's your age. My stepson is. My my daughter was born in 2004. My son in 2012. And my stepson was born in 2000. Wooden practice comma. I don't make them normally, but I have made them with custom order before. Yeah, that makes sense, Chris. But Sparkle, yes, I have made practice comma out of wood. I've honestly, mostly it's Kusari Gama is what I've made. That seems to be something people want a lot because it's hard to find online. And it depends what they want. Like, I've had some people that they want the wood comma, but they also want a metal chain, and they want like a wood ball so that it's still gonna hurt, but it's not lethal. I have some people that want them to be completely con safe with like a wooden handle, a like plastic or foam blade, and then I'll use a plastic chain and like a foam ball that has a wood ball in the middle so that it still has weight to it. But I do make them, just not very often. I mostly only make them for custom orders. The more complicated stuff that I make, I tend to mostly do for custom orders because they don't sell very well. Usually it's very expensive. You know, it takes a lot of time for me to make that stuff. And so I find that unless a person has a specific need for it, a lot of times I'll make a proof of concept and I'll sell that when I have a custom order. But outside of the proof of concept, I don't normally just continue making them because I find that they sit in my shop for a long time. Even the proof of concepts do. Now, if I make a custom order for somebody and I make a proof of concept and I put that on the shop and it sells like immediately, I will make another one and see. Yeah, you can find the link to my shop. It's an eBay shop. I have a Shopify as well, but don't go to there because it's not working. But if you go to my link tree in my bio there, Sparkle, you'll find the link to my eBay shop, Warrior Wooden Props. Yeah, I find those you know, the comment that you buy from people like, you know, Pro Force or Asian World of Martial Arts or Century, a lot of times the blades are okay, but the handles are usually a pretty cheap wood. And they're kind of an afterthought because it's an easy place to cut costs. Most people don't think about the wood of a handle for a weapon, which you really should, because without a handle, your weapon becomes very difficult to use. Thanks, Josh. Thanks for that. Oh, you use them for martial arts? That's cool, Spargo. What martial arts do you do? What is my duty, Mr. Warhammer? To serve the Emperor and die in his name. Is that correct? I'm more of a Helldivers guy than a Warhammer guy, though. Fighting for Super Earth. Yeah, foam tape works really well for that. What I always recommend to people is if you're going to do that, put foam tape on the handle and then wrap the foam tape with some athletic tape. It'll help keep the foam intact, because that closed cell foam, if you squeeze it, it'll collapse. The athletic tape can help with that. Was Warhammer, was that your question? Oh, weapons kata. Yeah, I actually did that a lot when I was younger. I have a 3rd degree black belt in Shotokan karate. I can't really fight very well anymore, but once upon a time I did tournaments. When I was young, I mostly wanted to do sparring. I didn't really like doing kata. But yeah, I kind of fell in love with kata more when I got older and did tournaments in like my 20s. Because I don't know, there's something kind of meditative about doing kata. And I competed mostly in traditional. I would do open forms every now and then, but mostly traditional forms. Yeah, Chris, I do. But again, most of that kind of stuff I make for custom orders. It just kind of depends. I can make just about anything somebody asks for. So I haven't made many helms, but I have made a couple medallions. I've made a few like resin. Like I had a person who wanted a unicorn bat, for example, a few years ago. So I made a resin unicorn horn with an LED light embedded inside of it. It was pink and had glitter in it. It was pretty cool. And it had an LED light inside of it with a switch. The bat was a glitter purple, and it had like rainbow tape on it. And when you flip the switch, the light inside the horn would light up so the horn would glow. It was pretty awesome. Oh, USKA, yeah. But that's what we traditionalists refer to USK as American karate, which is a little different, but nothing wrong with it. I feel like martial arts is martial arts. Uh, but yeah, it's funny. I went over to Japan for a little while in '97. I was in Japan in the military, and I wanted nothing more than to compete in a karate tournament while I was in Japan. And I was stationed in Tokyo at near Tokyo at Mount Fuji, at Fuji Base, and I found out they were having a Kyokushin karate tournament. So I decided I was going to enter a Kyokushin karate tournament. That was not a good idea, you guys. Kyokushin people are insane. They they don't wear pads. The only rule is you can't punch to the face. Like, that's it. That's the only rule. I think I lost one. I won one fight, lost two, and was eliminated. Ended up with like 3 cracked ribs and 1 broken rib. Got my ass chewed out by my staff sergeant for doing that, because I got injured, which they don't really like you doing stuff that gets you injured when you're in the military. But yeah, highly do not recommend being a foreigner and going over to Japan and entering a Kyokushin karate tournament if you've never done one before. Yeah. Like, you should just go on YouTube and look up Kyokushin knockouts. Like, guys get knocked out constantly because you can't punch to the face, but you can kick to the face. And you see a lot of dudes just go lights out. They take a roundhouse kick to the side of the head and just drop. I saw a lot of those. I managed not to get knocked out, but man, my ribs took a beating. Because for the most part, that seemed to be, I don't know what it is these days, but the main strategy back then was you'd walk up. Most guys would keep their arms in like this because the solar plexus were the big target. And so you'd punch towards your opponent's solar plexus, trying to knock the wind out of them. Because once you knock the wind out of somebody, they tend to go for here, which opens the head up, and then you kick them in the head. That was the main strategy back then. I was able to not get kicked in the head, but dear God, I got some cracked ribs. And my legs looked like a freaking blue, purple, and green wonderland by the time I was done, because you can also kick to the legs. And my legs took a beating in that tournament. Good God. I only fought 3 fights. I only fought 3 times. And I ended up with a bunch of 3 cracked ribs, 1 broken rib, and just legs that just were nothing but bruises of various degrees of purple, blue, and green all the way up and down my legs. No, it's not a 2x4. No. This is actually coffee nut. It's a fighting knife I made out of coffee nut. I hadn't worked with coffee nut before. Don't know that I will again. I'm not super thrilled with this one because the blade edge didn't quite come out the way I wanted. The wood on this, the grain's just a little wider than I feel like you want it to be. It's got one minor flaw right here in this blade edge because the grain kept breaking on me. So I'm probably going to sell this one either on auction or for a discounted price as well, because it's not perfect. Hey, Jennifer, how you doing? No, this isn't sinew. This is just jute cord. It's just basic jute. I do have sinew that I use sometimes. I mostly use my sinew for stuff like indigenous war clubs. Like, I'm working on a Polynesian war club right now that I'm going to be embedding tiger shark teeth into. And so what I'll do is I'll drill holes in these tiger shark teeth and I'll embed them into the wood. Then I'll thread sinew through the holes in the teeth and tie them to the club. Yeah, it was mostly my thighs. You're not allowed to kick the knee, and you're not allowed to kick on the knee area. That actually was illegal. It happened. Accidents happen though. They get close, but mostly my thighs were the part that took the brunt of it. Yes, I don't make Aztec swords. I do make Aztec clubs. The main reason I don't make the swords is because the swords require obsidian, and I don't know how to flint knap very well, so I have to actually find a flint napper and buy flint knapped obsidian blades from them, which are expensive. And I try to keep costs down in my shop. One of these days I will learn to flint knap, and I'll learn to make those obsidian bladed Aztec swords. But for right now, I do make Aztec and Mayan and Cherokee war clubs. Trying to remember my katakana. That is kama. Is that what that is? But hi, either way, ka something. Oh, you flints? Yeah. Well, Danward, it is a skill. I've tried to do it. That's one of those things I tried to learn to do on my own. Yes, I do make Viking weapons, Anders. I make wasters. I make Viking sword wasters for my HEMA, Buhurt, Armored Combat, and SCA guys. Those are on my shop. I have a deluxe version and a standard version on the shop. But yes, I do make Viking wasters. I make Gladius wasters. I make Boken. I make basic European sword wasters. I have a lot of different kinds. My wasters are my European wooden swords that I sell, and then my Boken are obviously more for the Japanese. Well, the main thing with flint napping is, one wrong move, and like you can perfectly flint snap something up to the very last strike and still crack the damn thing and ruin it. And it just takes a level of patience and skill that I just haven't had time to acquire. Oh yeah, you'll get it done. It's just a matter of time. I have to keep my inventory at a certain degree, and I have to keep my prices in a certain spot. My prices are going to be going up, by the way, tomorrow. So, but I will be. It's so weird. I have to increase my prices because the starting on Monday, the post office here, they start charging premium holiday shipping rates. So I have to increase my prices because I don't charge shipping. I just include the average cost of shipping into all my prices. So tomorrow, I have to increase all my prices by about 10 to 20%. But then also tomorrow, right after I up all my prices, I'm having a 15% off sale. So I'm not sure. Where am I from? I'm not really from anywhere, to be honest. I went to 13 schools in 12 years. I've lived in a ton of states. I'm currently based out of Florida. But yeah, I was born in a small town in Oklahoma called Yukon. Yukon, Oklahoma. It is the home of Garth Brooks, which I find hilarious because Garth Brooks says it's not his hometown, but Yukon claims it is his hometown. He was born there, but moved like as a baby, so he has like no memory of Yukon. But Yukon went all in on Garth Brooks back in the 90s and early 2000s. They put it on the water tower. Welcome to Yukon, home of Garth Brooks. There were Garth Brooks gift shops. They went all in on Garth Brooks. It didn't work out well. How often do I go live, Chris? About twice a week. I go live around 12:30 p.m. Eastern time on Saturdays. I do Saturday staining, which is when I like tung oil and stain all of this stuff. And then on Sunday mornings at 7:30 a.m. I do my finishing work. So I go live about twice a week right now. What culture have the most effective weapons? Well, it depends what we're talking about. Like, if we're talking about like all weaponry, or are we talking about melee weaponry? The unicorn LED thing, sure, Bob. It was just a bat. I don't have any. Unfortunately, I made it for somebody, and they never sent me any pictures, so I don't have pictures of it. But it was pretty cool. You got a coffee stain you're letting darken. So, like, Anders, are we talking about? Carving a lion. That's cool, Sparkle. All of the weapons. I mean, at that point, if you're talking about all weapons ever, then firearms. Like that's. I feel like everything kind of ends with firearms. But if we're talking about melee weapons, if we're talking about wood weapons, for example, I'll tell you who I think has it on everybody is the Polynesians. If we're talking about wood-based, actual, like, lethal weapons made from wood, the Polynesians were freaking crackerjack at that. They were awesome. Like, they have this thing called the Pahoa dagger, probably one of the nicest melee daggers you could hope for. I've actually got a few. I'll show some during show and tell. I got one more thing I got to finish up here. But the Polynesians, they were really good at making war clubs. And they were smart. Like the thing with cultures like the indigenous American tribes and the Polynesian tribes is they did not have access to iron. There was not a lot of iron. They had some, but not much. So when you have a limited amount of metal, that tends to be used more for tools than for weaponry. So a lot of times they would come up with ways to put something like a blade edge on a wooden weapon that could be replaced. So like in the Americas, it was mostly obsidian and rock. They would make blades that could be put into the side of a wooden club. And so it basically made it into a sword. But of course, every time you swung it and hit something, the blades would chip. So you'd have to replace them after every battle. The Polynesians used shark teeth for the most part for the same reason, because you could put the shark teeth into your weapon, tie it in place, and of course those teeth would break, but you can always get more shark teeth. All right, let me go get this last thing. I got a handle wrap. We're going to find out if this is going to work today, because I make these Rudis trophy swords. And I usually only make these one at a time because they're very difficult to make. I have to sand them up to about 2,000 grit to give them that perfect, like, glass smooth finish. These are not practice weapons. This is a trophy weapon. I sell these mostly to people who do different European martial arts, like HEMA, people who do cutting competitions, you know, SCA tournaments, armored combat tournaments. A lot of times they use these as trophies in those tournaments. The other thing I've seen these used for is when guys get out of the military. I've had a few people buy these as gifts for somebody who's retiring from the military or getting out of the military. The Rudis sword, the reason I think they buy them is the Rudis sword was gifted to gladiators who won their freedom. And so I think it's kind of like a symbol of the person getting out of the military and regaining their freedom. You've seen them used anally, Kara? Good God. Yeah, Purple Heart, Sparkle. Do I take orders, Anders? Yes, I do. I do custom orders. I have never made the 8-foot Warhammer, Chris, but I do have some Vampire Hammer Warhammer stakes, which are pretty cool. I'll show those later. But yeah, this is Purple Heart, Sparkle. And it's one of my favorite woods. Because it looks so beautiful once it's been sanded up. You can see how the light catches it. I absolutely love these. But they take a while. These, you know, I hand carve and hand shape the entire thing. You know, I have to get the blades symmetrical. That takes some time. And then I have to sand it. And I sand it up to about 2,000 grit, which I started about 120 grit. So I do 120 grit, 180 grit. Oh, God. There we go. 120 grit, 180 grit, 220, 320, 400, 600, 800, and 1,000. So, yeah. Oh, crap. The adhesive came off. Why? Why would you do this to me? All right. Well, let's see if we can get this to work. And this is a cow leather wrap. Again, starting from the bottom of the handle, we're going to come around. I cut that angle so that it goes flat, but I didn't get it perfectly. There we go. There we are. And then I'll put finishing tape on it once it is done. Gonna stretch just enough to make sure it's tight, but not enough to where it overstretches, which is kind of just something you have to learn over time. All right, so now I need there we go. Are we there? Yes, we are there. Ah, crap. I screwed that up. There we go. Yeah, I got it. And then let me get my finishing tape. There we go. So now we got leather handle on it. Thank you, Anders. I appreciate that. Oh, yeah. Mahogany and maple, also great stuff. Walnut, let's see. Thank you. Oh, Cara, that's funny. But yeah, walnut, you got to be careful with that stuff, though. I used to work with a lot of black walnut, and unfortunately, the black walnut has this chemical in it called juglone, and you really have to be careful about wearing a respirator around it, which I had a situation, which I usually was, but I had a situation where I forgot to wear, or I wore my respirator, but I didn't check the filters. One of the filters had failed. I breathed in a bunch of black walnut sawdust, which has that toxic chemical juglone in it. And if you breathe in too much of it, it will poison you and you'll get a sensitivity to it. Well, that happened. I got juglone poisoning. Now I can't work with, yeah, definitely wear a mask with Purple Heart, but Purple Heart's not toxic. It does cause allergic reactions in some people, but it's not toxic. So there's a lot of people out there that are like these amateur wood experts that love to tell people that Purple Heart is toxic. There is no evidence, no scientific evidence whatsoever that Purple Heart is toxic. It is known to cause skin irritation and allergic reactions in some people, but it's very uncommon. The worst injury I got from my crafting years? I mean, honestly, not many. Mostly what I end up with are, let's see if I've got any right now. I probably do. I end up with losing skin on my knuckles. That's the most common thing I get, is that, because I work with a belt sander a lot, and the belt sander doesn't seem to know the difference between wood and my knuckles. Yeah, with black walnut, you gotta be you definitely gotta be careful, because the real problem is for a bow. I mean, it depends what the kind of bow you're making, but I mean, hickory's great for a bow. I mean, any green wood, really. Am I still on Grinder? Hey, Dragon Master. No, not on Grinder anymore. I had to get rid of it, bro. But yeah, and the thing that sucks with the black walnut, once you get juglone poisoning, it's really, you have to stop working with it. And sometimes you get, you lose the sensitivity over time. I have not. Matter of fact, the reason I'm so sniffly today is because yesterday I was cleaning out my dust collection system, and apparently there was some black walnut residue still in there. And I didn't wear my mask because I usually have a hose that moves everything across. It's usually a dust-free thing, but the hose came loose and a whole bunch of dust went right in my face. And so I was coughing my lungs out last night. But it happens. So apparently I still have a sensitivity to it. And apparently my finishing tape is in the other room. So I will be right back. Let's see. Yeah, I'll be right back, you guys. My finishing tape's in the other room. I was using it in my office the other day. I had a custom order I had to finish up. Forgot to put it back. Oh, glasses off. Hedge apple. Yeah, yew is also a good wood. Yes, I do make weapons from bone. Anders, I have, I mostly make daggers from deer leg bones. But for the most part, I sell those as atame daggers, ritual daggers for Wicca. But I do sell them. I do make them. Oh, come on, you. There we go. Get on here. Give me just a second, guys. I got to stretch this bad boy out and get it up here. There we go. There we go. It's weird because you got to get just a tiny bit of overlap. Then you got to make sure it lines up. Otherwise, you end up with a weird stick out part. I go up. There we go. And you don't want to stretch. This is vinyl finishing tape, so you don't want to stretch it too much. Just enough to get it tight. Tight, but not enough that it falls back on itself, which also happens quite a bit. There we go. And the finishing tape can be temporary. Once it goes to the customer, by that time, it shouldn't be necessary. It just helps hold the adhesive in place while it sets. So there we go. Tight like a toiga. I've never made Lion-O's sword, actually. Chris, the main reason for that is there is already a lot of people out there that make the Sword of Omens. And a lot of the ones that make it, they are able to do it for cheaper because they have mass production capabilities, which I do not have. I'm just one guy in a shop. I could make it, but I would rather, if I made it, it would cost a lot. It's easier for me to just, if people ask me for a Lion-O sword, I just refer them to the people that already make them. You met your girlfriend Lamar on Grindr. That's awesome, Dragon Master. Congratulations. I'm glad you found your person. All right. Well, everybody, that's all of my finishing work. So it's time for some show and tell. I know you guys were wanting to see some of those Pahoa daggers. What else did you guys want to see? You wanted to see a battle bat. A Pahoa dagger. What else were we talking about earlier? You guys were talking about some stuff you wanted to see. I'll tell you what. The Aztec Club. Yeah, absolutely. Let me go grab that too. I'll be right back. Let me go to the inventory room and grab a few things. All right, hold up. Let me put these things down here. So it's not Aztec, it's actually a Cherokee design. This is a Tassi design. It's one of the more rare designs. Most of Tassi start at the bottom and taper up, kind of like a Tenarashi, but larger. They tend to start at the bottom and taper wider to the top, but there are some that have this flared handle. Some of the Tassi that have this kind of flared handle, but they were much more rare. So I made a replica for a client. This is actually the proof of concept. He wanted his to be 17 inches. This is 24 inches, so it's a lot longer than the one that I'm going to be making for him. But yeah, I think I just made this one last week or week before. I can't remember. I think it was last week. But yeah, it's American hickory. It's about 3/4 inch thick. It's about an inch thick in the center, and I taper it on the sides. You can see how it tapers on the sides to about a 1/2 inch, so that you have a better striking surface. Works better for cracking skulls. Thanks, Chris. Yeah, actually, I already do that. Downward, believe it or not. For my ceremonial handles, I use black jute. For my ceremonial weapons or daggers for the Wiccans, I use only natural materials. I don't use any adhesives. I don't use any plastics. I don't use bleach. I keep them. I let them be dirty. If I can clean them, sometimes I do bleach cleanings. But I found that a lot of Wiccans don't want that. Because you're not supposed to use anything but straight natural materials to make it. But yeah, I have bone knives. I should probably go get a bone knife too. But yeah, so that's the indigenous Cherokee Tassi War Club. This is why I love the Polynesians. They basically came up with the shiv before the shiv was a thing. This is called a pahoa, which really just means knife or dagger. It's made from Kamaru wood. This wood, one of the strongest woods in the world, by the way, it has a Jenka hardness of between 3,200 and 3,700 pound force. Insanely hard stuff. This, I have impact tested. I've made a few of these. They're on the shop right now. I've impact tested these. They're amazing. The tips hold up. Like normally when I make stabbing wood weapons, the tips only hold up after about 4 or 5 stabs. I stabbed about a dozen times with one of these, and the tip was still good. So yeah, highly recommend. I did, Maverick. It's kind of my thing. I also make props too, but yeah, rabbit sticks or boomerangs. Yeah, a lot of people think of those as mostly like an Aboriginal Australian thing, but rabbit sticks were very common among a lot of the indigenous tribes in the Americas. It wasn't like what you see where you throw it and it comes back. It was mostly for stunning small game, like rabbits, for example. You throw the stick to hit them, stun them, and then you could catch up and finish them off. Oh, I do have Sparkle. I have Uwharra, not Kubotan, but Kubotan and Uwharra are very similar. I have Uwharra on the shop made out of Kamaru. I have Uwharra made out of this on my shop as well. Yeah. It's Cumaru is the name of the wood. If you just go to eBay and look up Kamaru Uwharra, or you can look up Kamaru Kubotan as well, they are on there. I also made a bokken out of it. I made one bokken out of it. It's an expensive as hell bokken because this wood is expensive, but it's about $110 right now. It'll go on sale here pretty soon. But I've made a few things out of this stuff. This stuff is very hard to work with. But man, it's worth it though, because it's hard to sand, it's hard to work, it's very dense, very strong wood, but it sands up super pretty, and man, it is durable. I actually call the bokken I made out of this the unbreakable bokken, and I'll tell you guys why. I impact test every bokken and waster in my shop because I guarantee them. If you buy a waster or bokken from me and it breaks, I replace it free of charge, which means I have to impact test everything. I impact tested, most of the time when I impact test a new bokken or waster design, it gets at least a dent. It didn't. I didn't even have to sand out anything. The Kamaru bokken, I smacked that thing hard as shit against basically a 4x4 with a little foam padding around it, and it didn't even budge. This stuff is crazy. My favorite wood to work with, I would say, is Purple Heart. I love Purple Heart. Chris, it's a really good one. I always look left when lying. Why would I lie about this, bad gamer? I'm not sure. But anyway, it's all good, my man. I see you over there trying to figure out my neurological patterns. You're absolutely, I made this for my mom. You got it. You got me figured out, my guy. But anyway, and this is one of the other ones. I just love showing this bad boy off. This is one of my axe bats. This was a proof of concept for a custom order. The guy did, he wanted a bat from Days Gone, which is a video game. They have a bat like this in Days Gone. His doesn't have the paint job, though. His was just bare wood that I distressed up and put some tape on it. But this one, I wanted to make it look prettier, so I put a paint job on it, called it the No-Brainer. But it's got saw blades embedded on the side. Basically an axe bat. It is a lot of fun to make. Yeah, it's good times. Yeah, that's usually, this one's actually up for sale right now on the shop. But yeah, that's usually the reaction I get when people see this. I keep it up in my office. Just because I love the reactions that I get when people see it. But yeah, I make custom battle bats in my shop. I've made them with saw blades, machetes, spikes, nails, barbed wire, you name it. But yeah, it's kind of one of the big things my shop's known for is custom battle bats. Did I do those? Oh yeah, it definitely looks dangerous as hell. Oh, okay. So Anders, I put legal disclaimers on everything I make. I have a lawyer that I consult on a lot of stuff like this. So I just have legal disclaimers for the most part. Oh yeah, yeet! Everybody's coming over to my house in the event of a zombie apocalypse. But I just basically I have to say that these are for collection or entertainment purposes only. Should not be used as a weapon, and I put that on everything. Even with my practice weapons, I have to put disclaimers that say this is for, practice purposes only. Should never be used as a weapon. The props are easier. The props, they're not really dangerous, but anything that's a weapon or could be used as a weapon, I have to put a legal disclaimer on. Yeah, not suitable for use, right? But I mean, they are suitable for use. They will hold up, but yeah, all of my weapons will hold up for the most part. Even my battle bats are functional. However, yeah, do not use them as weapons. If a zombie apocalypse ever happens in real life, by all means, go nuts. But outside of that, please don't use my baseball bats for anything. I don't want to end up on the news like that. You're very true, Yeet. I can say it out loud. I just can't tell people to use them for that. Please don't use my stuff for crime. I believe it or not, this is not the first live where I've said that. Please don't use my stuff for crime. Most of my items are for collectors and entertainment purposes and cosplayers. Yeah, just for decoration. Exactly. All right. Let's see. What else did you guys want to see? Bone knives, right? You guys were asking about bone knives. Let me go grab a couple other items. I'll be right back. All right. Got a few other things to show off here. So somebody was asking about the hammer thing. So this is one of my Vampire Hunter hammers. It's a hammer stake spear. It's got a stake tip on the front you can stab with. It has the a natural Southern Live Oak hammer head with a stake tip. So that way you can swing it into the vampire or down onto the vampire. And it's got a black paracord handle. The shaft is maple. This is Southern Live Oak. I also have another one that's more of a cross shape. I call this one the Reaper because it kind of looks like the Grim Reaper scythe. Oh yeah, I love it. But again, entertainment purposes only, guys. Please don't stake anyone. Which I have to put on all my vampire stakes, by the way. I have to put for entertainment purposes only. Please do not stake anyone for any reason. And then again, I worked with props a lot. This is my prop kukri knife. I did this as a proof of concept because I'm working my way up to making a set of Leonardo katana. And I've been testing out different plastics and paints. I think this is the combo I'm going to go with. This is a polyvinyl plastic with an enamel paint. So it came out pretty good. I distressed it and so that it looks like it's been used in combat, so it's not all clean. Yeah, I think that's going to work well. I am a Buffy fan. Yes, I have a lot of vampire stakes in Mike's shop. And these are my bone Atabi daggers. I know they're ugly because they're supposed to be. I've not used any bleach on these. I do have a few bleached versions of these, but for the most part, I keep them clean. They have natural jute on the handle. Everything is hand carved. They have not been cleaned aside from stuff that could have caused issues. Like I remove any flesh from the bone. All of my bones, by the way, are naturally harvested. I have a guy that owns property. He walks like his hiking trail, and he finds bones on the hiking trail, and he salvages them and sells them to me, and I make knives out of them. So no animals were killed to make these. Yeah, I know. Like that's the hard thing, because like with the scratches, I tried to do it like with the distressing, but you have to remember this is paint. So doing any kind of scratches on here, I risk flaking the paint off and showing the primer underneath. Yeah, it is hard. It is really hard to get scratches on it. But I wanted to scratch up the blade, but I'm worried I'm going to go through. But this chrome paint is really good about, you can pretty much just run some objects across it very gently, and it leaves really nice marks in it. Yeah, it's just a pain in the ass to work with. It really is. But yeah, so these are my Atame daggers. Mostly sell these to Wiccans. On Halloween, I tend to sell a few of them. Some people use them as props just because, you know, it's a bone knife. It looks cool. I actually had a guy one year. I don't know. Does anybody here remember David Pumpkins? The Tom Hanks skit on Saturday Night Live when he was David S. Pumpkins. I had a guy who was doing David S. Pumpkins for Halloween, but he wanted a bone knife for his costume. I'm not sure how those two things worked. Oh, thank you, Sparkle. Yeah, I don't know. I'll figure it out, Yeet. But for this one, you know, I think it worked well enough. When I do the Leonardo katana, I might try to figure out a better way. Maybe I can scratch the plastic, like you said, before I put the paint on. But the paint is a bonding paint, so it does tend to fill like any voids and scratches. So that's kind of the hard part with that. Like you can scratch the paint ahead of time, but you really have to kind of gouge it. So we'll see. But yeah, I had a guy order one of these to use for his David S. Pumpkins costume for Halloween, which I find hilarious. I'm like, I don't remember that being a part of the David S. Pumpkins thing, but okay. Well, I didn't kill it. Nothing was killed. Like, definitely something died, for sure. Like, like, there's not a boneless deer walking around somewhere there, Danward. Like, something died, but it died of natural causes. Like, we aren't out there killing the deer to get the bones. But yeah, you're right. Yes, something definitely died. We just didn't kill it. That's the main thing. But these are deer that died of natural causes out in the woods. And then the guy that I buy these from, he has a whole bunch of property, and he just kind of collects the bones as he goes, which is also why they're all different lengths and different stages of nice, because, you know, so when they're naturally harvested bones, you know, there's no guarantee of the quality of the bone. Sometimes they have cracks, you know, and I have to cut below the cracks, and sometimes I have to carve around the cracks, and so, you know, it makes it harder to get a consistent size. That's why I have to sell them all separately. Yeah, there's a limp deer out there feeling violated. It's like, you guys aren't gonna believe this. Some guy came, took all my leg bones, left everything else, just walking around without bones. Yeah, Sparkle, that's right. Actually, I am making a ham for Thanksgiving with a bone in. Now you got me thinking I might keep the bone and try to make a knife out of the ham bone. I know, the next level of animal cruelty. We just took the bones and left the rest of the animal. There's some poor deer out there just missing his leg bones. Oh, that's funny. Oh, man. But yeah, no. Honestly, though, I ended up buying, I think, all the bones he had for a while. He doesn't have any. And, you know, obviously, he's not going to go out and kill a deer for more bones. So, but that's okay. I don't sell these nearly as often as I used to. When I first started making these, I sold them all the time. But I think most of the people who want a bone knife have bought one at this point. so they don't sell as often, which is fine. That way we have time for him to build up his inventory again. Yeah, you get out there. You got a buck in a wheelchair, just trying to get through the woods. Some more chicken with boneless wings. That's the one thing though. Chicken bones and bird bones are not great for making weaponry. They're very hollow, and so it's very difficult to make any kind of weapon out of chicken bones. Chicken bones, though, I do use them as decoration. Sometimes, like I had a guy who ordered, like he wanted like a shaman staff for this music video they were doing about like Ulfethner, which were like kind of like berserkers, but they were wolves instead of bears. And so they were doing like an Ulfethner like heavy metal music video, and he wanted this like shaman staff for like this character in the music video. So I did like a big like skull, like a deer skull on the top, and I did crow feathers all over it, and I had bones hanging off of it. Some of them were deer bones, some of them were chicken bones. Oh yeah. Well, that's the thing with arrowheads, you know, that if you don't want to use it more than once, you know, rocks and bones of just about any kind work great. Oh yeah, that makes sense. You reinforce the bones with resin. That's a good idea. I hadn't thought of that. I have to think about that next time if I work with chicken bones. She gets them from the store where nothing has to die. That's hilarious. I know. You know, like no, I get it from the store. That way I don't get the animals don't have to get murdered. No, trust me, they still got killed. They still got killed for you to eat just because you got it from the store. Oh, that's funny, Dad. Let's see. All right, you guys, I probably got... What time is it? I don't even know. Oh, my God, I've been on here for 2 hours already. All right. Anything else anybody wants to see? Let me know. Yes, they will, Yeats, unfortunately, because they won't know how to get food without the store. That's going to be a problem. There's going to be a lot of people who starve to death after if things break down because they won't know how to feed themselves except if they go buy stuff at the store. So yeah, human bones are a whole bag of worms. I actually had a guy once who wanted me to make something out of a rib bone of his. I'm not entirely sure how he got the rib bone. He was from Denmark, by the way, not from America. I'm not sure what he was doing with one of his own rib bones, but he had one, and he wanted me to carve it into a weapon thing for him. The problem was that I could not legally get him to send the bones to me from Denmark to here. It is illegal to ship human remains internationally except through certain channels. Oh, I know. Yeah, you can have all the ammo in the world, but if you don't have food and water, you're kind of screwed there, Yeet. So yeah, human bones are issues. I do have one person that is a creator kind of like me, who she runs a shop where she works almost completely with bones. She does taxidermy and bone art. And you'd be surprised the number of clients that she gets who come to her with their own bones or bones of people they know for her to make stuff out of. However, she knows all the legality around it, and she knows she knows what paperwork to fill out and all that stuff. I don't. So it's just not something I've dealt with a lot. I usually refer people to her if they come to me for stuff with human bones, because she knows. You're a Swede and you're not surprised. I know, the Northern Europeans, man, you guys come up with some crazy stuff. I know, that's the thing. Well, but here's the deal. It's like, I probably could have had him send it to me saying it was an animal bone, right? But the fine and the jail time, if you get caught, it wasn't worth it. Like, it is a felony. It is a big felony. If you traffic human remains across international borders, it is a very big crime. And I did not want to risk it. Oh, that's cool, Dan. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, definitely not worth losing my business. But like I said, I know someone who does do that, so I just refer people to her for the most part. She's pretty awesome. I wish I could remember the name of her shop right now. I haven't had to do business with her in a few years. But I met her through Facebook when Facebook was a thing. I don't meet anyone through Facebook anymore. That was a long time ago. But she does great work. She does mostly taxidermy and bone work. So if I have her card somewhere. So if I have someone come to me looking for bone work, I send them to her. But yeah, definitely not worth it. Like I said, like we said already, I already am right on the line of legality with a lot of my stuff. So I try not to draw too much attention to myself. That's how I got kicked off of Etsy. I was on Etsy for the first like 2 years that I had this shop, and they kicked me off last Christmas. About 2 weeks before Christmas last year, Etsy permanently banned me from their site forever because I sold Eskrima sticks. That was the thing. You can buy knives and swords on Etsy, but I sold these Nightwing styled Eskrima sticks on Etsy, and Etsy had this rule that you couldn't sell batons, which a baton by definition is usually 24 inches or shorter. So Eskrima sticks, not exactly batons. The Eskrima sticks are usually about 27, 28 to 36 inches. And for some reason, Etsy suddenly decided that Eskrima sticks were batons. And so they went through and they kicked so many people with martial arts supply stores and weapons stores off of Etsy for carrying Eskrima sticks last year in December. And of course, they did it 2 weeks before Christmas. They kicked us all off. Which is why I'm not on Etsy anymore. I'm on eBay now because Etsy, if you're not some Instagram lady making freaking jewelry and candles, they don't really want you on their site. Like if I was crocheting hats or making, and nothing against people who crochet or make hats or jewelry or candles, but like that's like there's like 1,000 shops on Etsy that do that. Right, yeah, that's the thing with Etsy. I don't understand their like they had issues with my palm sticks, my Yawara, which oh yeah, somebody was asking about those earlier. I'll go grab a few of those. And I had to list them on Etsy as massage sticks. If it was a massage stick, it was fine. Same exact thing. They were fine with massage sticks, but it couldn't be a palm stick or Kubotan or a Yawara. So it's just ridiculous. Etsy, like I said, they want very specific kinds of sellers on Etsy, and if you're not that kind, they don't want you. I'll tell you what, let me go get some Yawara. I'll be right back. It's the first time in a while I haven't done any on Sunday. So the only thing in my shop that I probably have more of, wider selection of than vampire steaks are Yawara. Also known as palm sticks or Kopo Yawara or Donbongs or Tanbon, depending on the language. So this is my shop's design for Yawara. Yeah, eBay works better. You think your nose is broken, Sparkle? How did that happen? Oh, no, Christmas was harsh on me last year because they froze all of my accounts. So like I had to wait 6 months to get paid for the stuff I did sell on Etsy for Christmas. But yeah, I recovered. eBay's doing okay. But this is my shop's Yawara design. I taper the center. Your fingers go in here. I taper the center so that when you squeeze it, it pulls it into your palm. So it's far less likely to slip. Obviously, the finger anchor helps keep it from slipping, but even with a finger anchor, if you're hitting this way, it can cause slippage of the stick. So the taper in the center helps keep that from being an issue. I also have more traditional ones. This is the one from the Kamaru wood that I was talking about earlier. This is the wood that has a 3,200 to 3,700 pound force Jenka hardness. If you were to buy this, this would be the last Yawara you would ever need in your entire life. It is insect resistant, decay resistant, and it has one of the highest Jenka harnesses you could possibly ask for. Great stuff. I've only got a couple of these. These are the more traditional designs. This one's Bubinga wood. I had a few cut-offs of Bubinga from a custom order, so it's a really pretty wood. That's the only one I have of that. Yeah, they wacky. And then I also have some bigger ones. This one's white ash. This is a slightly longer design. This is more, this longer design is more popular in jiu-jitsu because they'll, like, if someone grabs your wrist, they'll use it for wrist locks, and they also use it for pressure point stuff. Like, they'll take it and shove it into somebody's wrist on the inside to hit a pressure point. Or if someone grabs their wrist, they'll use it to lock the wrist down. These I call pocket Yawara because they fit great in a pocket or purse. So the Kubotan, what's that, a dilly mate? yeah, a lot of times, like, this is what they call the Donbong or Donbon type. A lot of times these will come with a wrist loop. I don't do it on mine, but this is the Korean version of that. They call it a Donbong. It's used in Hapkido. So that's the Korean version. And this would be the Japanese version of that same one. They call it a Donbon or a Tanbon. It's a slightly longer reach. You still got the butt end, but you've got this that you can use more as like a striking stick. Very popular with Japanese police. And then I also have this is a flatter one that I make from American Hickory. I usually make these from cutoffs from my hickory daggers because every now and then the hickory will have like a little, little knot in it or something like that. And it doesn't work well for a long weapon, but for a Yawara, that knot doesn't cause any issues. And it kind of gives it some attitude, kind of makes it unique. So I usually will make these, but these are very good for slipping into a pocket or purse because they're fairly flat and they work really well. Yeah, the longer variety, I've got this one here is Ipe wood. Ipe, also known as ironwood, or a type of, it's Brazilian ironwood, I think is what they call it. Ipe is a great wood. It's just slightly under the Kumaro in strength. It is stronger than black walnut, which is a very strong wood. If you're familiar with black walnut, you know that finding a wood stronger than black walnut is pretty impressive. And it also shines up really pretty. But this is Ipe. I have different ones of Ipe, but mostly longer ones. I have some pocket Yawara of Ipe. But somebody had mentioned the Kubotan keychain before. The Kubotan keychain was actually developed based on the Japanese Yawara. The guy that invented its name was Tak Kubota, which is why it's called the Kubotan. Because it kind of sounds like a baton. And Kubota, which was the guy's name. But Tak Kubota was kind of a legend in martial arts circles, especially in karate. After the war, he trained Japanese police in hand-to-hand combat because Japanese police couldn't carry firearms. What do you call these tools? I call these Yawara. They're also known as Kopo Yawara or palm sticks. Yeah. But Tak Kubota was a really interesting guy. He taught hand-to-hand combat to the Japanese police because those poor Japanese police, after the war, they had to learn how to do their jobs without firearms. So they had to learn to scrap. And Tak Kubota taught them how to fight. And he developed the Kubotan keychain. Originally, it wasn't a keychain. It was actually quite larger. It's basically a Yawara design, but instead of the anchor cord, it had two small metal rods that came out between these two fingers right here, so you could punch with it. And then it had the two sides that came out from the finger, which was a great design because the police could carry them. You didn't have to worry about dealing with the string and all that stuff. Which is honestly, it's very similar to the origin story of the Yawara as it was told to me. I always tell people I don't know how true the story is. I had a sensei tell me this is how Yawara were created. In Okinawa, the Okinawan Royal Bodyguards, there was a period of time when Japan first occupied Okinawa, the island of Okinawa. Believe it or not, ethnically, Okinawans are different, slightly different from Japanese, the indigenous people of Okinawa. So when they occupied Okinawa, they made anyone who wasn't Japanese could not carry a weapon. So the bodyguards of the royal family of Okinawa had to still figure out how to do their jobs without weapons. And their wives had these little cushions that they would put behind them when they would sit down. They put it under their rear, and you could had a little pillow on it. Well, they realized if they took the backing out of those pillows, they had a little stick inside of them, and they realized they could put their fingers through the string, and they gave them something they could use as a weapon that wasn't technically a weapon, so they weren't breaking the law. That's also how we got nunchucks. Nunchucks were originally a bridle for oxen, where the chain or the rope went either over the mouth or through the mouth as a bit, and the two sticks were the sides that came up on the side of the animal's face. So they figured out they could use those as flails, and that's where we got nunchaku from. And I always think that's interesting and kama as well. That was used by farmers to harvest rice. So they learned how to use things that weren't weapons as weapons. Let's see here. Yeah, that is also true. Yeah. When the guns came along, it kind of turned all that off for a while. But honestly, by World War II, they were back on martial arts. Unfortunately, it was because of Japanese nationalism, but that was when martial arts kind of made a return to Japan, was World War II. Oh, yeah, or, I make an Or Boken as well, based on the Musashi Miyamoto story. For those of you who don't know, Musashi Miyamoto wrote the Book of Five Rings, or Gorin no Sho. Absolutely legendary Japanese swordsman. He had a duel with a guy named Kojiro Sasaki, and on a sandbar. He stayed up late with a friend the night before, literally, got drunk, woke up late for the duel the next morning, ran out to a boat to get on the sandbar. As they're paddling away towards the sandbar, he realizes he didn't grab his sword. So he grabs one of the oars out of the boat and uses his tanto to carve himself a wooden sword out of the oar, and ended up beating Kojiro with a wooden sword. Oh yeah, no, World War I was one big science experiment on how well we could kill each other. Definitely. Martial arts disguised as dance, yeah. Yeah, that's like capoeira. That's a very common thing. There's a lot of martial arts that exist because people were forbidden from carrying weapons or learning to fight, and so they learned ways to do it. If you've ever watched Lock Up, the series Lock Up about guys in prison, when you tell people they can't have weaponry, they turn into freaking geniuses. They will humans are great at figuring out a way to turn things that aren't weapons into weapons. Yeah, right? I know. Well, that's how the story goes, but he cracked Kojiro's skull with the boken. I personally believe that Miyamoto did it on purpose. And the reason I think that he did it on purpose is because Sasaki Kojiro used an odachi, a very, very long katana. And he used a technique known as the swallow strike, which what it was a long sword's upcut. I have to get away where you guys can see me. Sasaki Kojiro used the swallow cut, which was an upcut followed by a down cut done very quickly with a very long sword. So Miyamoto Musashi used Nichiryu, which was the two-sword concept, and I think he realized that his sword form would not work. So he needed a longer weapon, and I think he realized his katana was too short, but an oar would work. So I think he did it on purpose as an excuse. Possibly not. It's possible he didn't do it on purpose and it was just luck. But the oar was longer than his usual katana. And because of that, what he was able to do is on that upswing, he jumped back to let the katana come up and then rushed in and cracked his wooden sword down on Kojiro's skull before Kojiro's sword could come back down, and cracked his skull open. Thanks, 82nd. Fire my barber. Well, then I'd have to fire myself, man. I'm my barber. But yeah, he cracked Kojiro's skull, and according to the story, he took a cut on his forehead because he rushed in so quickly. He caught the tip of the sword across his forehead. Ah, yeah, I got two hands, and I pretty much, the only time I go see the barber is when I need the top cut. That's usually every few months I'll go get the top done. I know everybody's always hating on me. Oh, 82nd, you retracted your message, man. What? Stand by your words, my boy. Thanks, Yeet. I appreciate it. Yeah, I know. Everybody's always giving me shit about the mohawk. It's cool. I'm okay with it. I don't rattle easily. Well, you guys, I think I'm about to wrap it up. I gotta go home. I've got like 40 things I gotta put up on the shop for sale. I had a craft fair this week where I had to make a bunch of charcuterie boards, and I only sold a few of them, so I gotta put the charcuterie boards up. Oh, thank you, Sparkle. I like it. It works for me. It's easy to maintain. You shave your head once every few months, not bad. Hey, Yeet, I appreciate you hanging out with me, man. Take care. And Sparkle, you too. Thank you guys so much for all the questions and comments. It really helps me get through these mornings and not be bored. Hey, you too, Yeet. Enjoy the rest of your day. Take it easy. But it really does. Thank you for the likes. If you like what you see, please subscribe. Or go over to my link tree in my bio. Check out Warrior Wooden Props on eBay. Starting later today. Or tomorrow. Tomorrow's the 18th, I think. I don't know. Today's the 16th. Whatever November 18th is, everything in my shop will be 15% off from November 18th to December 18th. So, and then December 18th, my shop closes so that I can take a couple weeks off for the holidays. It's one of the only times I close my shop is 2 weeks during Christmas and 1 month in the summer. Hey, yeah, I appreciate you finding my channel too, Sparkle. Thank you. But yeah, so go check out my shop, Warrior Wooden Props on eBay. The Shopify site is there. I only use that for custom orders. If you're interested in a custom order, you can contact me on eBay, or you can go on my website. There's a button at the top of the homepage on my website to contact me via email to inquire about custom orders. Hey, have a great day, Sparkle. You too, Downward. Take care, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me again. Really appreciate it. All right, everybody, I'm out of here. As always, thanks for hanging out with me. I will be back live again next Saturday at 12:30 p.m. for Saturday Stating, and I'll be back here at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time next Sunday for Sunday Finishing Work. As always, thanks for hanging out with me. I'll see you guys later.